Hi, welcome back to Circee Health Cooking Edition. I'm going to show you how to make something that looks complicated but is actually not complicated at all and is very tasty, and I think you will impress your guests with this dish. So it's actually a Greek dish called spanakopita, or simply a spinach pie. Traditionally it's made with feta cheese, but since we're doing plant-based, I'm going to show you how to make your own feta cheese out of tofu, which also sounds fancy, but it's very simple. I've always been afraid of using phyllo dough because it just seems very complicated, but believe it or not, it's simple to work with, and you'll see that when we show you how to use it. So you need to get some store-bought phyllo dough, keep it in your freezer, and the night before you're about to use it, keep it in the refrigerator so it comes to, it softens up and it's not frozen anymore. So olive oil is a great ingredient to use. We pretty much put it in everything in place of butter and other oils. It provides good fats. There are good fats. Good fats are important for making your hormones, for joint function, for brain function, memory function, and actually for heart function too. There's such a thing as good cholesterol, HDL, and you need good fat to help form that and keep that going through your system. So in summary, basically just use olive oil wherever you can in your cooking. It provides great health benefits and has a nice flavor too. Even just dipping bread in plain olive oil is delicious. In fact, our kids run around for it all the time. It's not that much more expensive. In fact, probably about the same as regular oil. So just have, like we do, have a container of olive oil ready for whenever you're cooking. So why spinach? I think most people know that spinach is healthy for you, and most kids know that they don't like spinach, but we will hopefully in the coming weeks show you some tasty recipes incorporating spinach. I could talk about spinach for hours, but just a couple things. It has a lot of fiber, which is good for your gut health in general, and also for weight loss, for making your waist smaller. That's a good thing. It also lowers cholesterol. So fiber has many benefits, and we have some videos on that too if you'd like to watch it. Spinach has a ton of vitamins, specifically vitamin A, good for your eyes, vitamin C, good for your immune system, vitamin K, good for keeping your blood flowing and making sure it's able to clot when it needs to. It also, believe it or not, has a ton of calcium. I think people only think about dairy products with calcium, but green vegetables, particularly spinach, have a lot of calcium. So you can get most of your daily needs from calcium from a big cup of spinach. And then finally, it has something called folic acid, which if you've ever been pregnant, you've probably heard of. Folic acid is very important for babies' spinal cord and brain health, and you can get a lot of that just by eating spinach. So if you have questions about spinach, contact us, watch our other videos. So make sure you always have some spinach available. In fact, we like to freeze our spinach, keep it in the freezer. It does not take away any of the health benefits if you freeze it. Just pop it out, saute it up, put it in a smoothie, and you're good to go. Okay, tofu. There are many opinions about tofu out there, strong opinions. I have always loved tofu, and I always will, but there are many people that feel strongly against tofu. You mention tofu and the look on their face changes. We will hopefully show you some recipes where tofu can be delicious. It's always nutritious, but also delicious. And hopefully we will change your mind about tofu, because tofu is such a superfood. It is made of soybeans, which are almost as perfect as chickpeas in terms of protein and fiber content. But what makes tofu even better is the fact that it's actually fermented. Just like you ferment dosa batter, just like you ferment kimchi, sauerkraut, you ferment tofu, and that gives it kind of that, a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a sour flavor, but a different flavor. So fermentation is something that scientists have discovered is actually really important. It's been around for thousands of years, but we're discovering how important it is now. Fermented foods like tofu help your gut, your intestines be happy. So my husband, Ajoy, likes to say it helps your gut garden grow, so I will quote him here. Basically, fermented foods are a prebiotic. You may have heard of probiotics, which are good bacteria. Prebiotic is something that allows good bacteria to grow and flourish. And when you have a happy gut, you have a happy intestinal system. It affects all parts of your body. It affects your brain, your mental health, your memory. It affects, believe it or not, your joints. It helps reduce joint pain. It gives you more energy, amongst other things, which you can check his videos out to see. But a happy gut is a happy person. So hopefully tofu will become part of your regular diet, and that'll make us happy. Okay, so here's the rest of the ingredients. So this is onion powder and garlic powder. This is coconut oil. Ideally, you would get deodorized or scent-free coconut oil. If you don't have that, you can just use regular canola oil. We also have some lemon juice, lost myself for a second. Lemon juice, ideally fresh squeezed. We have some apple cider vinegar for a little more acidity. Salt, dried dill. So dried dill adds a stronger flavor of dill, but you can also use fresh dill if you don't have dried dill. And then finally, we have a secret ingredient called nutritional yeast. So nutritional yeast is not the same thing as the yeast you use for making bread and other baked goods. It actually contains a lot of vitamin B12, which is an important nutrient for nerve and brain health. And it has like a cheesy flavor, so that's why we're adding this to our vegan feta cheese. So now I'm going to take all of our ingredients, the tofu and all our spices and oils, put it in a blender, and I'll show you the final product. Okay, so now we're going to put all of our ingredients into the blender. So first our tofu. Then the nutritional yeast. Then garlic powder and onion powder. Dill. Oops. Salt. And our coconut oil. Lemon juice. And finally, apple cider vinegar. And now we're gonna blend it up. So I've turned the heat off. We're gonna remove it to a not hot skillet, to a cooler skillet. And once it's cooled, you can add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so I've taken our spinach, let it cool, and I've squeezed most of the water out as much as I can. And now I'm going to add all of our other ingredients to make the filling for the spinach pie. Salt. I have pepper, nutmeg, minced garlic, mint, chopped mint, onion, homemade vegan feta cheese. Incorporate it all together. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble our spinach pie, our spanakopita. So first I'm going to oil a 13 by 9 inch pan. So just olive oil and water that I'm spraying. And I've already taken our phyllo dough out of the container. I had a towel covering it so it doesn't dry out. And now we're ready to assemble. This is a bit tedious, but I actually think it's kind of fun. So you're gonna take one sheet of phyllo dough, and we're gonna lay it down like a blanket. And then for each layer, we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil so it helps the layers puff up. An important thing also is to make sure, I mentioned this earlier, make sure you prepare this ahead of time. So usually most phyllo dough is frozen, so make sure you keep it in the fridge overnight or at room temperature for about 4 hours. Make sure you also get the edges too. You can also use vegan butter for this part, but I just like the flavor of olive oil, and as I've now said multiple times, olive oil is very good for you. So now I'm just gonna put it down and you're gonna go back to your phyllo dough. This time, you're gonna put the oil directly on the dough itself. Or another easier way, which I might do because it's faster, is just dip your finger in the phyllo dough. And then you take each layer and you're gonna actually crumple it up like a tissue. And this is gonna be our crispy topping. So now we have our little rosettes of phyllo dough on top, ready to bake. Okay, here is our vegan spanakopita or spinach pie. And there you have it, simple and easy spanakopita or spinach pie.